our way through the swinging lifestyle. Hello, everyone.
This is Jones, and we want to welcome you to Got a Thing podcast. Hey, baby.
Hey.
How you?
Man. My calves are pretty sore.
Just ran a half marathon yesterday. Probably could have trained a little for it.
Yeah,
This swinging is really good.
it has reset our priority planning.
But we did it. It was amazing.
Well, yeah, I did okay.
Good.
Yeah, I did okay.
Unlike,
Well,
yeah, thinks that I'm awesome. But,
no. Now?
well, we might as well.
All right. And our half marathons kind of went to the start over.
Yes. No,
Yeah.
It was like really hung up.
And we'll give you the...
Well, the day before, I had poor planning.
Yeah.
But I finished.
Yeah, and you came up a notch in my book.
I came down a notch in my book. Your book, maybe it was worth running with.
We'll give you all the benefit.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So we're talking.
yes, and the title is...
Oh, the title stage, When and How Swinging.
Yes, and this is just like everything else, but not so good. So we're not preaching here. This is seems to be a popular topic, but we waited about this lately, and then it's come up in the past month, and we thought it would be a good time to find.
Yeah, and this might be what I do, kind of.
Part of it might be.
That's true.
Yeah, Joneses, we busy this month. I think we needed to spend some together.
We did. We had one lifestyle adventure after we podcasted last time. It was fun.
But before we get to this, update everybody on the non-sexy stuff before.
Get this out of the way.
So I mentioned planning, and we're still on site, everyone, this summer, probably. And we'll give you more detail we want you to know now about it. And the general excited about it, and we have a lot of great... basically, we got to think. The website is going to be molded community. And what that means is each other and an opportunity through the website. More of the details later. We just wanted on track.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah. So we don't like we still like, but that community section of the things that we want to do. So
More user-friendly and much more interactive. So I'm excited about it too. Nerdy about it.
I'm excited. The podcast isn't going to change. It's going to take off in a different direction. The same.
Right. Well, I mean, and we've had with our listeners, that has the driving force behind. We've told you all that's been our... from doing to interact with you guys. It's a little easier to do that.
Yeah, the podcast once a month. We will with you throughout the month on the pool.
Yes, it is.
Okay, let's get back to business. See business.
Yes,
that was the
fun stuff.
Yes. So we had
Yes, we did.
We were doing a lot month, and finally
Yeah.
we had.
Which is a smart idea, and it was definitely.
We decided we needed a family week, Jones weekend. And
yeah, and what's going on? We've had so many birthdays and that and the other that we've. Sometimes you just we're busy, but. Days and that kind of stuff. You really sorry we're busy. We have friends. Yeah. We called and it was it. So good family. Some hot Mr. and Mrs. Jones
ribs on the grill for you.
You dig some good ribs. Oh my goodness.
We had an awesome.
Yep.
Whew. And are we going to talk about that later? We're going to talk about that later. What else? We did something a little bit different. Some friends that we really enjoyed, and they've been up time. So this time we went out, met them out of town.
And we had some after.
So we let end.
Yeah.
There and we played all afternoon. Nice. I mean, it was so much because you didn't have that, with home.
Right. A 5-hour energy.
Yeah. After we wore each other out, we went out to dinner. The one they had got a room because it's close, and so we joined them. Decided we were going to go downstairs to have a drink. Of us came out of the hotel room, button on the elevator, and when the elevators opened. Who were used to friends that we were with.
It was one of those moments.
We didn't know what was going on, but all of us, their faces that was but they did it.
But our friend
she
handled it like we hadn't already had other. So when we ran into them, it wasn't like we had sexy sex hair and mascara and all that stuff that and energetic. Yes. So we were still all.
And I will talk more.
I think you probably will.
Yeah. And then the other this month. We went Humpfest.
Oh, that is good for us.
That was so much fun. Friends of ours invited us, and strange because our calendar had just opened 2 weeks out, and
we didn't even know what it was. So she texted me to Google this, what they were talking about, and in fun time. Yeah,
so it's a 5-minute amateur-produced films, which curates them selections, and it was a pretty cool venue in downtown. And it's just one fun. Most of them are funny.
Yeah, I'd say.
Funny and sexy.
20% of them were, I guess.
Yeah.
Some of them were just sexy.
Yes.
A little bit of everything. It was.
Yeah, I saw some things that And I was wondering how to that, because there was gay, there was lesbian, there all female, moresomes. It was
literally every genre
I think of, but yes,
there were no actors gathered by people, and they had to be, and there was like a general thing that so it was really funny. A lot of like nervous laughing. It was just like,
it reminded me of going to a college, because they had a big white sheet.
It's in a really nice club.
Yeah, converted it into like a movie theater. Sheets hanging up front, chairs everywhere, but they had a nice. So we went with the couple, then 2 other couples.
3 of us met our snack.
Yeah,
or pre-7.
Yeah,
cool wine bar and plate to the show, and then afterwards 2 more couples, so there were 12 of them, and we went to, they were serving late night snacks, so we did late night snacks and drinks. It was a booth that
one of those circle booths.
Well, it probably held 12 people in it.
Well, we got 10.
Oh, they sat on bar stools kind of.
And so when we went to they have an 8 that's cut into 4, and they have a list of all the movies. And after we got down the list from top to bottom, liked about it, what we didn't like about it.
Questions about?
Yeah, and talked in a minute, but it was just so much in an environment like that, and we saw about, because there are 20 or so, and to remember them all.
So it was good to talk about them right after it in your mind.
Yeah.
And what was really cool about that, there were us, and our ages ranged to 50s, because we all commonality of experiences. So we same theme to the table around what we saw. There weren't that many like lights in the whole group of movies. You could apply experiences that you have in the life. Good conversation.
It was good. And part of the reason we laughed, Mrs. Jones.
I ordered.
And our would come from, and she was in this, and I said, yeah, we'll all have that. We were with the youngsters.
And tonight, I think I've come pretty close.
To what? The drink?
Yeah. So we're having elderflower liqueur and grapefruit juice.
Yeah, it's like that summer drink that you make.
Oh, yeah, but it's got the elderflower aromatic.
Yeah. It's much better than that
Aperol spritzer myself.
Yeah. So it's a success, and we'll definitely check that out.
It's in different cities that it's coming. So it's coming to a city.
Link on our show. Talk about in segment 1 this weekend, marathon weekend. So we had some fun in from out of town, and we on a vanilla cruise.
We met them.
Yeah, because we had about our black rings, and we had that and didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Together with them, and they had to come to, which again, a lot of people come. And so we invited them. There's a local brewery that minutes from our house. And then as it turned out, I had a town, but I told them I could, because we had our own party. The brewery, and they were the festival going on because
there were like 6 breweries.
Have a couple of beers on the next day. We didn't want to drink too much. The original plan. You bought your tokens in for beer, and the music was outstanding. Different kinds of beer. You couldn't just try
like salted lime.
No, I didn't like that.
Saison. Oh my gosh!
They had a rye barley wine.
Is what got me
11 or 12% alcohol.
Tasty.
Yeah, and then my other friends showed just throwing tokens everywhere, and we got more tokens. You got to drink more. I don't know. We had at least 6.
And 11% alcohol.
To the house with our friends on the grill for dinner, and Mrs. Joe Mass at that point in time. At one point in time, I had out, and I had put it on the, and when I came there with the refrigerator open, and I said, and I ran there, and I said, honey, I can't find this thing. The one that you put all the put on the grill.
I don't remember that.
How bad it was.
Yeah.
In your stomach, you rallied a bit.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah. They had mass on race day anyway this morning.
Well, the race started the house at 5:30, 4:45.
4:45.
Yeah. And I'm not a morning, so I took some Advil to eat a little bit of breakfast. Didn't feel hungry.
Yeah.
Till 6.
Yeah.
So then that was like thump so bad.
Yeah. And I at my watch saying, she'll be here next. Certainly
15 minutes.
Yeah. Positioned where I thought I was going to be and see you. At the end of the race, you looked pretty good.
Perked up at the end.
Nut free beer at the end. You didn't drink.
Yeah, and it was a good PA. It wasn't your typical beer.
Yeah.
I think just a couple sips because that's just marathon, and then I gave the rest of it.
In contrast, ran in March where the weather was beautiful
and kind of breezy.
And it was in the high 40s, at least for the most part. The race finished. But.
Yeah, I got at the end of my race because I took this longer than you.
Yeah. Anyway,
but one really bad is we were waiting for our beer.
Yeah, we saw a brand new podcast called That Couple
Live in Our Vicinity, and and then what after we finished?
Yeah, it was on Twitter I posted something on Twitter.
Did she was listening. She took a picture and we could see.
And then I said, well, we're running a half conversation offline, and realized that we only lived about a half an hour.
So sure enough, people that ran that race,
at least
right after the race, there they were, recognized us. So we got to meet, and we had actually already next week, I think.
Yeah, but at times you meet a swinger, you've been showered, you're perfect, your best. Well, you haven't been drunk all morning. No one really looks
Thank
good.
God for something.
So
we were all kind of crusty because you sweat and then you're like all this like salt on your face.
Yeah. So that's enough half marathon till the fall. But
right.
So that's keeping up with the Jones. We've been busy, but not as much. Feel like we have some balance back. So when we come back, talk about setting the stage and how to talk to your partner.
Stay tuned. Segment 2 of our podcast talk about tonight is a conversation with your partner, your desire to start swinging.
How and just
when. Yeah, timing, I think. So there's a couple to talk about this tonight. First of all, we had people flat out ask us about it, have this conversation, and there are some funny stories about their attempt partner that, they've admittedly blundered it, are just curious as the right to initiate that conversation with them.
Yes.
Like you want to do. Isn't the react want to get a tell that?
Yeah, and they're asking that we know the answer to this.
I don't know. This is kind of the blind.
Yeah, it is.
And like how we did it.
Yeah, let's
talked about all this before, but what happened with us is that we didn't have the where one of us had to. I've really been thinking about this. We unwittingly there to go on a clothing op, and we didn't lifestyle of society. And had a few months before we meticulously research go to, whether it's a life vacation. I mean, we go on a cruise. I memorize the deck plannership. And so that's just part of researching desire. You guys before I kept seeing this, no idea what it was about. Together, Mr. Jones and I,
back up from vacations. Yeah. I say book it.
Right. And I'm like, but honey, it's going to cost.
Okay. But in this case, and in this lifestyle, all of us are in researching.
Your ears perked right up.
I want to help book this.
Well, I probably shied first, and then all of a sudden, both did research in our own ways. One that charged ahead, and you were trying to find. I was trying to stick to the opportunity for just sexy time. There, really, really curious.
On there, I wanted to know about what sort of people go and why are we going to vacation with?
And how are we going to fit in? I think that was something that we're going to want to shy to ourselves, or is this something?
Right. And we knew we had that being a lifestyle resort. It's opt out. It wasn't.
As many people go to Desire, have no intentions of still have a fabulous time, be very social, and not have sex.
Listening to podcasts, and we found Playboy.
Yeah, I think from the podcast Playboy Swing.
Yeah. And that's when I began to realize being described there. Oh, and you found the desire. Yeah. So we'll put a link to the Desire forum as well.
I mean, the Desire forum about the resort, if you're going to, there's a lot of good information about it and how newbies, initial for environment.
Right. So before we went and closer, that's when pressure to talk about even said to me something like, are we just going to talk about this? Participate? Are we really going to do?
As we were doing our research, we kept saying, this is what other people do. This is how they react. We're really saying, well, how if we did something like that? A transition that we get across.
The house and the throne, and you said, well, I'll do
Mr. Brave.
Yeah. And we were both
right
at the same place.
Like to throw that face when I always say it was I'll always come back to that.
And that's part of it. But the when to have this conversation town show years before.
It came out in 2000. I forget.
I was intrigued swingers. And I kept thinking, I wonder what's going through her head. What you liked the show.
I did.
At a point in time to ask you to ask me about it, and I didn't want to say about it.
But we did talk about it in the third person conversation. Or I can't believe talking to his wife first, or about how those other people brought it to how.
Yeah,
because we were
heard most of our story before we did that research. But before we talked about was we're going to talk about it when we get there, but the bond relationship was strong enough with the boundaries.
Right, because conversations where it was acting and like conversations before we went on, we never said, I can't believe you'd want to sleep. I believe you'd want to give another guy a blow. We never insecurity or anxiety, pointing fingers at each other like, somebody else, am I not good enough for you? You have to find somewhere else.
Right away.
Well, yeah.
So anyway, that's how it.
Yes.
So we didn't have the, I'm curious, I want to talk to you. So everybody has a different, now we did get a couple of emails. One of them, I'm going to, is a story about a couple who did it. And the other one, we're going to pair their email, but it's about, did it wrong. He admits that he did it wrong. And then hopefully by that we just had on a recent date as to why we're doing this. Okay. So email verbatim and story. I'll just read it.
Okay.
Mr. and Mrs. Jones, we used a TV show that was based on exploits in Las Vegas times a year. So I would also gigolo she wanted me to get. She would take me serious on my offer. She also never said no, then admitted that it sounded like fun could ever do that. And group porn and both over time fantasy of two men somehow wanting to share her pleasure ecstasy. Decided to surprise her and make it happen. Shocked for a few hours. Decided to try the single guy. Very short. After a few text messages, we finally connected with our. We met him and his wife was definitely interested. Her single guy was quite the engaging us both. Not just talked about the lifestyle. We were all comfortable upstairs and finished. Our suite had a perfect view of the casino as well as the Eiffel Tower. Furnished a leather sectional in the bedroom, along with their fun amenities you would expect. After some nervous to get the party started by telling her, as she was sitting shaped sectional, the ends of it. Nervously chatted for a few more. The perfect gentleman. He was tempted to touch her, not knee or forearm. It's okay for you to touch him, and continued with his permission. He smiled at both of us. Much to my pleasant surprise, jumped up and straddled him, ripped open his snap and began kissing him. Grabbed her 2 handfuls, came around from behind, dropping it over her shoulders, firm breasts. And he began to suck her top. Looked up at me, standing and kissed her sexy grin, moved through a variety of positions, pleasuring her, and watched her enjoy herself. Myself, holy shit. But it's hot. Enjoyed watching her repeatedly take her mouth, and then me, that cat who ate. So, but at the beginning, about talking, we would mention this as a joke, and she didn't take it seriously, and then she sounded like fun. So they told me at first, and then he could obviously have a pretty good relationship, and then he took a pretty bold to try to make it happen. But kind of the ground talked about it.
Right.
So this is a story that's besides just saying, hey, sex with other people, I thought a positive story to share. That was kind of was a gentleman who shared with, talked his wife into, and he got on ahead. He got way ahead of her, and it scared her a little bit, and so she didn't want to do it anymore. Thing happened again. He finally,
like a couple years go by, I think, right?
Time go by, and then he did the same thing that, he did it. He was trying to convince her, and he didn't wait for her. Wow, he's at a point where he doesn't again.
Right. So from reading that their experiences were horrible, was a pretty good experience.
Yeah.
But there, I don't know, maybe lack of cue where either she began or something. I think it was just timing, maybe not a thorough.
Yeah, he doesn't think that he has to just wait. If he got 2 strikes,
But his email was actually in a bittersweet way because he had a blockhead or something.
His fault, and she knows your interest. If you push it again,
right.
So the time can't. You have to stay on the.
And he has to, and then read her.
Right.
Let him know when she's ready.
Yeah. So the next is a dinner date that we just had.
Yeah, I think this was the experience topic.
Yeah.
Had a couple online, very attractive. And well, you had some good conversation. Started out the 2 of you, right?
It was email.
So, and I guess that was emailing. It was just the 2 guys at first. We would meet for dinner, and you send contact information, and we start like for communication, but anticipated.
Right. Her phone number and mine. He only gave his. It was a 3-way, but indicated he was sharing.
He may have been. I mean,
Right.
And everybody was proactive as they were in their pictures. We hit it off really well. A pre-dinner cocktail, ordered some appetizers and some dinner. We were having really good conversation. And when dinner was over, and to that little start to kind of the lifestyle and what they're into, what kind of connection the 4 of could make, any kind of vibe.
No.
He asked us some questions about our lives, what we liked and what we didn't. Both of those questions. When we tried to reciprocate, she wouldn't answer.
Well, I asked her, was she, because I couldn't remember. I don't recall. Are you bi straight? And him and said, I don't know. What, I don't.
So that
he does all that stuff. I don't put on.
Right. On the website, we wanted to know what she was into.
Yeah.
I never really got her in me or you. She was very express anything like that.
We just came out and asked, said, well, you're doing this. I said, why?
Didn't really have anything positive to say.
They were kind of neutral, positive or negative. And I said, you doing this? And her answer was getting any younger. That was a strange answer. Again, it indicate that she liked it. We talked to them for a little. It
was very engaging, much so. It's like he was trying to make up for her.
He had to answer for her on a few occasions that, she never really was sorry that he was mad. She was perfectly in conversation.
Right. Style. Never really took ownership, desire, or interest. Never really felt like she wanted. I never felt any kind of.
Right.
She was just wasn't. It wasn't there. He didn't drag her there.
No.
There was just nothing there.
Almost immediately when we left, email you guys, or maybe we started talking on the way home.
Excuses for her.
Because she's
pretty. Yeah, she's very testosterone
level was impacting. But fortunately, I did it right away. What did you?
I mean, I just had all kinds of. It was just not engaged.
You said, I don't even know that they've had. Yeah. And that's what reminded Epic was that the conversation being. And definitely the one. And after you said the next morning when we talked about it, testosterone and blood normal, I could see it. That's probably indeed. Yeah. So I think we'll have to take a pass.
Because they were very nice.
Yeah.
Something isn't set there.
Yeah.
They need.
Okay. So let's guidance. We're going to throw out a few things. The first thing is that we 1 year, so we know each other. But we're this couple that we just met that are 2 years.
Right.
Know your partner and to that they might like without, forcing
Well, and you can bring it up with them, alienating them.
Yeah. So you've obviously experienced to know how to vanilla things. You don't use that. And, you have to know them well. On what time of day should I talk to her? When is the best time? Should I wait until the weekend?
Offer her a cocktail, or maybe it's the lady bringing it up. Mr. Stereotype. Right. Partner do better with a cocktail. The fact that you're trying to, what are they trying into here or something? It's different. So you stage.
Right. Think about this. What do you think of watching porn together? What was your favorite scene? And these are open-ended, that they know right or wrong answer to. It's what it is that they might be interested. You have to answer the question back, because did you like about the movie? Right back around on me, what I liked.
Yes.
And I got to answer that as well. To start a conversation and then we already talked about watching porn together, still available on, and sharing fantasies if your partner is one and talks about that.
You can start porn and there's more than two. You can kind of say, their role and partner, how would you room when sex and start a conversation. I want to have sex with other people. Not going to go over well with me.
Right. And it's
going to be offensive.
Yeah. And for a lot of us guys are blockheads. There's times in the past, Mrs. J. We can a litany of questions that we think we need to ask what we fail to do. Gauge your response to.
I'm going to say, listen to the answers.
Getting to when you throw something out that scene, or what do you think? What was your stop and shut up and respond based on. So if it's completely negative, I thought that was gross, but what do you mean you didn't already, you're taking it down. Patience. And I just admitted I was guilty when levels were high. So you just watch their try to determine when he threw these things. No. And she laughed about it. And that gave him that she would be interested in, but negatively.
And I think he had thrown it out there
for a period of time.
So I think courage to go ahead and
yeah. So, and then you observed, then based on, sometimes us guys have a hard time.
That's what you and I did. We start third person first.
Yeah.
Started putting individually, fantasizing about it, conversation. It took a while. Always admitted that we're kind of slow.
Deliberate.
Yeah. Deliberate. But, it's to make that transition, talking about it objectively or listening to a podcast. To actually starting to areas
and explore it at pace. And we've talked about in this context, and that is allow things to progress. It doesn't, they respond, then you should be, here's what I liked about it. Conversation about something that you and Lee ask the other partner gated. There shouldn't about, even if they back on you say, oh, well, the part I liked was not only do you have to gauge to what you've asked them, you need to gauge their reaction. You say you like and to that because feedback. It's always,
you can somehow frame it so like creating do together.
Yeah.
I need you to help me make it happen. And if we actually interact with, it would sure be fun to, and to, kind of check culture of society.
Yeah. And I've mentioned this before too. One of the things that I did wrong, I didn't really know what I wanted to get at. So you really do need, because if your spouse, and assuming say, what do you want to have sex with other people? Say, well, really, I'd like to do this with you. I'd like to by another man and I'd with another woman, but I don't know what you would prepared to talk about. Focused on her if it's the lady asking.
Right, me. Because I wanted to throw the bullshit card. There's got to be some, this is with other people.
Yeah.
A long time to actually verbalize it to me.
Yes once I figured it out, I got pretty...
Not an issue.
Get there. Yeah. Before we should probably talk things too, like common sense. Maybe it's not so common sense.
A couple of them, but yeah, I want to have sex with other people with, I want to, going to put that other person. Right. So, I
think about this.
Yeah. What do you, or, I've heard about this show. It looks really interesting and want to listen to this pod with me or read this book, because there's so many different information.
Yeah. And be honest. It's like, I don't know why it turns me a person, but it does. And it just turns, that's not even a question. That's just how you feel, but admitting that you're curious about it. So that's a better saying, I want to do this, or why don't you want to do that?
Adventure that you can do, make it seem fun. And I think the thing I like best about this, dirty little secret knows about.
Except for these guys.
Yeah. And our,
yeah.
But our and,
right.
Watching me get drunker and drunker. I knew, it's fun.
And we mentioned patience. I'm going to say it this time again and that goes for an individual.
Yeah.
Just case. Now, having said, we just said that we're deliberate there, that, and have success doing.
Everybody has a different personality handling stuff.
Right. And personality then.
And again, it's knowing yourself.
How that works out for you. You said something to me, the very first couple that we...
Our very first lifestyle. We were and, sharing stuff with her, and she said, don't feel bad because fantasy is much better. Thinking about how a lot of times better than,
right.
It's the build up and that maintenance. And that can even be your partner. You're all work by the time you end up played or whatever and work out the way it anticipated it to work out. But it really happens a lot.
I said that because that's when I was going, and it irritated me because I don't know. I do want to, and I was afraid that
he wasn't saying it to.
Oh no, but I'm just telling you. Point in time when I heard that, it was more, I wasn't convinced it wasn't going to be a good thing, and the reality was going to be just as a reality.
Sometimes when it's fun, but the build up to it.
Yeah.
No, that's because sometimes be absolutely amazing, but it can be, and especially when you play with, because you don't know them, their body, and you're trying and they're trying so hard to please you, and makes it harder for you to relive it. So
now we're getting back into we only knew then, so we need to put together.
Well, but though,
yeah.
You have anticipation and building that you just need to do it.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to.
Now I have a warning there.
And the blockheads out there?
Yeah. This is a generalization.
I love block.
This is a generalization. Email me and complain. This is only by others from heard on other podcasts that it's going to be the gentleman driving the conversation to the lifestyle.
True.
Wants the call, and the woman the guy struggles.
Yeah.
And that, I know sense, but be having sex with this woman that you're fantasizing. Don't forget that part of the equation. Sometimes we have a one-track mind. What we want, have seen it.
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden the guy looks over his shoulder and he sees somebody else, what I thought it was going to be. To at least consider. Now, you may not know when it happens, but it's because we've seen this. I'm not going to say it's prevalent because but we have experience.
And to enjoy themselves and have, that's enjoy yourself and have fun too. And you see receiving pleasure from all of a sudden you're kind of.
Well, you know what happens? Myself, I'm with you for 20 minutes. And then I looked over at you, another guy, and I'm hearing the sound, and I'm watching your eyes roll back, watching your body start to quiver. And then that out comes into my mind, like, is he able to do that? Something better than I'm doing, because they're a little bit competitive sometimes. Jealousy, maybe it's more. And if you thought into your mind, a little thought like that and the black above your waist, it really can be something that you have. Word of warning to you guys before you get into it. Don't let that stop. Dang, it's worth the.
It's definitely worth it. Yeah. We experience body image. I think that women are reluctant to have. There's no way I'm going to be naked. I've had stretch marks and I'm old anymore and I have whatever it is about our body. Fortunately, I think every woman has self-doubt about something.
Right.
And that you really have to swallow that. Well, whatever, that woman's got to have her own.
Yeah.
And not let a mental competition. Yeah, it's hard. Once you it and you can kind of put that in it, then it can be really fun.
It's really fun. So enough of the, continue these conversations like us.
Right.
Like about this afterwards when we were sitting around.
I know.
And we were talking about with other people and you somehow, situations than I am.
My blood doesn't drain parts.
But you before you can say it, you know what I'm talking about? Before you get in the lifestyle, it's just, but after you,
and you're able to couples and conversations with other couples and you can share your struggles because they might be centered around have the same fears and struggles because so we're sitting around it after this and we're talking about, we had seen things that we had never seen before. We're just frankly talking to all these other people, which was great, intelligent, insightful people. Drunk fest conversation stuff going on. And Mr. Jones and I had our own teeny Monday, a little slip of paper that had all the time. And we started with us. Yeah. And we never talked about before.
To be perfectly honest, and the couple that were tomorrow night.
Yes.
And I said, I watched them have sex. I said, me more than, and that wasn't what I had away. And so much emotion, and there was a real connect. It was going to make me turn. I didn't, and but it didn't turn me off. And I'm able to. And
there were probably gay. I distinctly remember different reactions to them. And what is, I wasn't put off, but I relate to the ones where the two guys were just with each other. Like there was one of the guys had tied all about dominance and it was hot. Sex was hot and there was a lot of, but there was, and I think, no, I can't speak for you how that but what I do vignette that was completely, there was a lot of affection, kissing and touching and with the really hot sex. I liked that in between the two of them. I think kind of a little bit that affectionate.
Well, I haven't really thought about it. The point I was making was that I actually told another guy that this was back to your point about having the fact that I could tell him what I thought about that or indifferent. I was comfortable enough and I felt express what I liked and didn't being judged.
Right.
Is once you're in the life as we are to have a few to, then your relationship, because then you're couples who have struggled or sudden it takes that because you can say, oh, well, if she said this or if he said better, that it's coming from somebody.
True.
So,
yeah, put this whole for Humpfest together. They're a savvy couple, but they're also very things from the bigger picture, caught up in the above.
Yeah,
and I love that about
too.
Oh, they're sexy. We can't.
Yeah, too.
Yes,
because they were arguing it in a playful manner.
Yeah,
he was a little upset.
You gave me 2.5.
She says, no. She says, And so he just sat there and he's running on and on. And he's, because I want equal hearted. And he says, I gave you 10. You didn't even give me. And we were laughing. So
they were trying to have us. We were all just cracking up. They are a great couple. And saying, this is going to be the third just events. And we haven't played. I think
that a complaint?
That is a complaint here somehow.
All right, I hear you. This section, we're going to thoughts. Right conditions.
Yes. Choosing the right timing.
Yes, there's the right time, the wrong time to break. It's probably best not the person a little bit better. Know why it, but don't.
Right.
So get out of it, but that's not how you start the other person. This one is yours. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're telling.
Well, I think God gave you 2 ears and one. You need to use your ears.
I don't think a lot of grandmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, listen, especially talk. And sit a little bit of a time, think in.
Time to continue.
Because if you mention something about your woman or one does not respond, mean that she's not thinking about it and processing it 2 or a week processing it. So just because you don't, first of all, you should probably do further. but you process that and then
figure out a way to plant that seed, partner, something to think about. Keep thinking it's the guy that's
my perspective.
Very well could be the land.
Yeah.
And we actually know a couple on that route.
Yes.
Heard of.
Yeah. That's a whole everything we just said and spin it. Well, hopefully, admittedly, this is off topic and a lot of we talk about, there's no give you that's going to work.
Everybody's different communicating with their partner. It's communication and and listening.
So good luck. And hey, let us know if you've tried this or what we forgot to tell you. See, this will be one great thing about how we'll be able to just chime right in. That last podcast you did, and we'll keep the conversation.
And we'll be able to do that.
Oh, all right. So when we come back, we have some sexy.
Back to my favorite segment, and we have shots from listeners this month, and I each have our own snapshot that he's going to read to the ones talked about earlier.
Yes, a couple from Las Vegas. They also, so I thought it'd only be appropriate with the story to begin with, but it gets even funny. Okay, so they were having a couple that had the single guy in Las Vegas. Out of the whole evening was the single guy my wife was straddling, riding his cock. As she took me in her mouth, was grinding him, and all of a sudden she must be really liked because her mouth put me out of her mouth, grabbed the frame of the grinding him faster. I stepped back to watch their athletic performance. A tearing sound. Friend and my wife were as they kept on harder and harder. A tearing sound. That she was gripping her cushion for more leverage as she ground him hard. At first I was a bit dismayed. Holy crap, I'm going to sofa. Were instantly wiped away, caught up in the pleasure. I watched the scenes. I heard her moan. That is tearing of light.
Talk about being distracted.
I ran my naked form to the sectional with my all over the place, hands next to hers, the opposite direction and an this own perch from which to push, and I had this crazy set cushion. My wife, she went through the throes, and finally, I too let Laura laughing, right? And the start of a very for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I could just remember spitting him out of her. Yeah. Okay, so thank you guys now for providing us and also for the snapshot.
Fantastic.
Yep.
My snapshot is a very different take on a unique experience for us. I don't know, a month and a half, I had friends stop in the last episode.
They were traveling
through town, and this was a couple days, and it was too late, and she forgot her swing. So they came back on Friday. So this is a mess, and with them. So fun to turn the tables on you instead of from you. And with Mrs. Jones, she can. So here we go. Keeping up with the Joneses. One thing, it is never safe. My man and I had the opportunity with the Joneses. Over the course of the night, the four, including a few of their single guy experience. Talk about my single guy experience. I love the idea of a single man has never. Their story intrigued me. Happened at the very end of the evening. Great deal of play. I stood up from the bed to get. Jones had seriously dehydrated. View of the bed is one I will not. My man and Mr. Jax fading in and out. Dab in the middle of them. Eyes were closed. Her hair, her grin was completely sad. Was stretched, allowing her hand well-used penises on. She was the picture of proper. As I took in the scene, she lay. See, one for a single guy is out of the question. Again, taught me one thing. It is.
See, somewhere out there for that.
I know. Never say never.
Never say. I think she got you quoted.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's spot on.
Yeah, so send a snapshot in. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, never say never.
Okay, my turn. Snapshot involves the couple that we found, and we stayed in the hotel late, and then we went out to dinner. Jones and our packed swinger bag had double-sided dildo, and I believe that's more.
Yes.
But she's more straight than
right.
And it's not her. She enjoys doing
play around together, but we really too involved with each other.
So anyway. Middle of playing, and I think instead that we moved to the toy bag.
Yeah, we had played for a while. Like, remember, we had brought like chocolate and I think, and we were like, let's have a
re-energize.
So I think and got out the chocolate and catonics.
And I think somebody to get things
Oh, I had that. I have like vibrator, but it's that plugs into the wall. Gotten to charge it,
right.
And it had been
right. Yeah, so you got out the double end. You two, and you were like in a and other and heavy to the point where we were, but you were grabbed each other's
grabbed a hold of one of her thighs.
Yeah.
And we were...
Yeah, you were pulling each other's thighs and you were pounding each other pot. And I think he and I were just balls on the floor. We didn't know what to do. All of a sudden, you looked at her and I like it when a girl... And I was like, and I'm going, yeah! She runs half over and she says, I like it. Oh. And you orgasm with that thing. That was crazy. As soon as we got in the car to come home, that was my snapshot early. Yep. And I knew I popped that one. So
that was...
Got back, remember, like a week later. And she said, well,
look
the same
what came
today. I got one of my own. Let me break it in.
I mean, we were kind of like my pelvic for days after that because, we were hot.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It was a good one.
If you can top that one.
Snapshot just has to do with, yes.
Yeah, you haven't told
me. Some ribs all day and it happens. Mm-hmm. So it was ribs for dinner and we kind of build up. That night and I remember bed and we were kind of like each other. Like my feet were up near you. I was like leaning on my elbows and I just kind of had your underwear on. I just kind of started teasing you. Have any kind of, this is why I don't like it's going to happen that night because then no way I plan it. Cause I hadn't planned this. I started giving you a blowjob. The vibrators. Cause when we were with our friends and then I tried to at night and I got up and turned on. Do you remember? Yeah. I've thrown vibrators across
then you grab
when they die. One. So you feel my pain covered quickly.
Oh, you had it right down.
I did. I was giving relation from the outside. Yeah. I knew where my spare was. So I grabbed it and
in that container that says an emergency.
Right.
Yeah. It was an emergency.
Door at my nightstand.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just playing with you. I don't think it was just me. Oh, and his eyes were red. Yeah. It was crazy. Yeah. Point. I had you. I looked up at you and at you and at that moment, it was just when it lasted. It felt like it lasted 15 minutes. It probably was, I don't know, it was just, and then playing, I remember you looked at me like I was somebody else and you had.
I said, you got somebody else's dick in your mouth, but you saved it from me. The
evil grin on my face.
You did. Snapshot.
But it was, I needed that. It was just one of those magical with you.
Yeah.
That snapshots came from moments filed away 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Variety of snapshots, but that's kind of stuff.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that special?
You're a pretty special guy sometimes.
All right, well, let's wrap. Are we at the end? What do we have coming up? We have...
we're getting on an airplane. We can't wait. Friends tomorrow night. Playing with them again. But they go to Temptation. They're going to give us the skinny on it. Get all of our little pointers.
We had some of our listeners going to be in Temptation at the same time. They said some other people from Cal.
So we didn't know what kind of show there was going to be there. Swingers, but it sounds like we're going to connect with some people.
Yes. Body in New Orleans. Coming up July 6th through 10th. We've got confirmed to... So I have to everyone that RSVP'd and that email, the details and the place. So we still have, and if you did not receive, either didn't get it, or if you're within the sound of my 6th of, we would love to have you. And greet is going to be on Wednesday, 6th, 6:30 at AONES. We got a thing that I want to attend, and I will send you of the meet and greet.
And New Orleans, this is going to be so much new, improved website. Yes, you'll just be able to. It's going to be easy capeasy.
Yes, you RSVP'd and I did to manage Cassidy emails or direct messages and else. So hopefully where it is, and if you don't, please join us.
So if you didn't send you the email, it's not that
send us.
We're like organizational.
We've got 11 couples, so that's people. So we have a good sized group already. It is the people that you meet at our meet.
Yeah.
Oh, and let me. This is about meeting you. Couples that are not coming until Thursday. And we want to meet. If we don't have time to really get to know, you're not coming until Thursday, please, during the week, we'll exchange pictures. If you know what, I'm going to have Twitter. So those of you who follow announcing where we are, but we're going to be at bar takeovers. Yeah. Please find us and get to know you if you're not in New Orleans. So then of course we have Desire on August 13th through 3 more months until. We have some good news on
7 reviews this month.
That's a good number.
That sure is.
To all of 7 of you.
Very generous for our podcast. So we try really hard to make the tool for you. We try to make it entertaining, a valuable tool.
Yes.
As you tiptoe laziness.
And keep this in mind. A couple of you may have children and maybe you don't want to leave. There's when you go into in your iTunes account, so that your nickname's your username. So it doesn't make it too easy to do, to let you know that. And some of these, the reviews on our new website, put one on iTunes, but we're going to put a few. So that's about it. 22 in the books.
It is.
And so anyway, and Mrs. Jones has got...
I think I've responded to all of them, but good as Mr. Jones. And it's just, I am not to sit down and take the time. Gosh, I didn't reply to that email. Getting to them. I'm getting to... Forgive me. But So
Mrs. Jones's email is ONES@WeGotAthing. If you want to send an email to the book, again, that's Mr. Jones @WeGotAthing.com. Is WeGotAthing.com. Twitter @WeGotAthing. We are on Cassidy. Put a lot of the Cassidy community when we have our website. Cassidy is a dating site. So next month with a very
hoping so. We've run, so hopefully that'll pan out.
Come back next month,
right,
and find out.
Here, Mr. Jones.
I know, it's his favorite podcast, I think. So until then, turn Mrs. Jones, and we've got.